Dissector, you are an idiot.
Ryan, why don't you pull up Amazon's margins real quick?
Well, yeah, I'd have more of a grin on my face than Stephen Hawking on Epstein's Island.
I'm off at the smug cock when you said that.
Wow, physical philosophy, you're not very smart at all. You screw up, cash flow kings. Dissector, you are...
Hello, everybody. It is Saturday, and it happens to be Saturday, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, because I am off the private jet, the Meet Kevin private jet, to get right back for CFK.
Did he give you any courses while you were on the jet?
No, unfortunately. I know that's been a hot topic this week, but unfortunately, no $800 course. I didn't have $800 in cash in me, and I'm already kind of in some credit card troubles right now due to some flights that I had to purchase on it. So, unfortunately, the Meet Kevin course, but the dividend data course is looking a little more affordable for me this week. So I might have to go with that.
Yeah, usually it's like $8,000. Today it's only $849.
Yeah, and you can get that only at the link in the description, or if you have a channel membership, $2 a month.
Use checkout code DATA.
No, the course is getting absolutely blasphemous. Like if you associate your name and you have course that you have available for purchase and it's not free, like 100%, then that you're the grifter tag is automatically associated.
Yeah, it's funny. Like almost all of the finance channels that get really big end up doing. Even like Caleb Hammer like went like full on courses. Like
We gotta do
first
it.
it was just a budgeting course, then now he's got an investing course, and it's because he's been palling around with Graham Stephan, who of course used to be buddies with Kevin and Jeremy and all those guys until they broke up their little boy band.
The boy band.
Mm-hmm.
Why did they ever break up?
I think I think it happened around the time like FTX happened. I think there was some finger pointing because FTX sponsored their group podcast, Millennial
Oh yeah, I
Money.
remember that.
And I'm guessing there was some my speculation, finger pointing of you said this place was legit, like, you know, but they were
Jeremy,
they were
you were
all
on
profiting
sponsorships.
off it. And like each of them should have seen the
I know.
warning signs or done a little bit more. But hey, it is what it is.
Money's a hell of a drug.
We don't do it for them.
But yeah, what are some possible things? We are kind of creeping in after hours already tonight. Once again, my apologies, everybody. What are some things you could be doing at Saturday, 8:45 p.m. Eastern? Let's just say are not accretive to your lifestyle.
Well, I was reading some stuff that BTI put out about their first half for 2025, and there's some stuff on that list you could be doing.
Well, they have other substances.
They have a nicotine pouch called a Velo or Velo. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah, they've got a vape called Reviews. Yeah.
Hold up. May have been a BTI customer at some point.
But apparently the nicotine pouches, they're gaining market share. They're doing very well.
Yeah.
I think Zins is still in the lead, but yeah, BTI's they're on the come up.
Yeah,
with that.
You could be high on ketamine in the Oval Office. That's true.
I mean, if the mayor could make some unfortunate tweets about Jeffrey and the president.
Yeah, it is. I should do that. Finest guy was on the island. No, that's a joke. Yeah, I don't know how much truth there is to that. I haven't been paying attention. I'm telling you, we can get into it, but like, Elon is a big reason why I never own Tesla, and it has nothing to do with his like political beliefs. But if you have somebody that's in charge of the company that goes on like rants like that,
yeah,
and I just can't stomach.
Before he started getting political, do you remember when he went on Rogan the first time? What happened?
I remember he smoked za.
So he smoked. Yes, what he said was the first time in his life, and you know, that was one thing, but he also said that he was thinking about taking Tesla private and that he had the money or the funding to do it, which you don't do that just randomly on a podcast. Like, that's completely inappropriate. So.
So I was not at the keyboard while all of this happened. How did Tesla stock actually do? Because I saw it yesterday, it was up. Okay, I'm looking at it now. It went down a lot, and then it went up a little. Okay, story of my life.
I don't know. I mean, if the feud stops, then it'll, probably level out.
It's bad when Trump is like, "I wish him well."
I feel like that's a lie. He doesn't really wish him well.
Yes, Elon, you're gay. On the topic of Elon Musk smoking the za. Who better to have on than potentially a few episodes away from the Raj Grover interview himself? Hasn't been on as an individual guest in a bit. It is none other than Blake Small Cap Downer.
How are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Very good.
Quite a night. What a time to be alive.
For sure. This has been a pretty exciting week. There's an ancient curse. Some people consider it a blessing, but it's definitely a curse. It's may you live in interesting times. And unfortunately, we've had some pretty interesting times.
Yep.
Elon is gay. I said it. It's true.
So imagine Raj Grover deciding to declare war against the most powerful man on the planet.
Yeah,
I
I
don't think
don't
he's
know.
gonna do
He'd,
that.
he'd have to go for like Trudeau or somebody.
He
I know
doesn't
he's
seem.
like-
Right.
I don't know. He doesn't seem like the war declaring sort.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
lover, not a fighter.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll walk up and slap you with the glove and declare a formal duel. I think he'll just steal all your customers.
Yeah, like
Ooh.
he'll wage war on the competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like maybe a price war or some other like that kind of thing. But
peaceful wars.
but no, I don't see him going on a Twitter war with anybody.
So there is a Charlie Munger quote
Undignified.
about Elon, and this is from like 15 years ago. This is maybe 10 years ago. It was a long time ago. But somebody asked if he would ever invest in Tesla. Maybe this is like 2019 or something. But this is, would you ever invest in Tesla? And then Charlie Munger's is like, absolutely not. I'd also never short Tesla because Elon Musk swings for the fences. And you don't get out in front of a guy like that and bet on them to lose, because when they win, they will win big because their goals are so high, you know.
Yep.
I don't.
And I also personally would never do any kind of short that was an undefined loss.
Yeah.
Because I fear the regards. I fear the regards. I know that the cult is real and the pumpers are real. And yes, also Elon is a swing for the fences kind of person, and love him or hate him, he's got a lot of very large companies that he's been a big part of. So
Do we think there will ever be an appropriation back to like actual fundamentals with Tesla?
No. It would take the cult to stop believing in him. Like, it would take a serious break of the social contract that he's established with his believers. That's what it would take. Like the hardcore, the Tesla cult members that it's undervalued at every price. You know, those guys, they would have to stop believing.
I mean, in a world where Jeremy can sell out of it, anything can happen, I guess.
he wasn't a true believer.
Not a true Google whale.
He was just in it for the money.
Yeah. Blake, did you see the dividend dude Dan Weston debate? We should
Yeah,
ask
it
all
was
of our
really
guests
good,
this.
actually. So I thought Dan did a good job of being really like the right kind of critical. He did come out swinging a little too hard at the very beginning. I would have preferred if Dan sort of eased into it and threw him a softball question or two, and then started in on what was actually bugging Dan. But overall, I was very happy with the way it went. I hope Dividend Dude doesn't feel too beat up by it.
Well,
I hope he
the
takes
problem
the
is
good-
what happened in Ryan's Discord after made him feel really beat up.
I didn't actually read
Yeah.
that. I'm too busy to read all of it.
I don't
but-
blame you.
Yeah. So I'm a type of person that, and this pisses some people off. I take all criticism as constructive criticism. So unfortunately, when someone is just plain angry and venting and pissed at me, I'm busy finding the solution, and that often pisses them off even more because they're just plain trying to express anger, and I'm over here trying to fix the puzzle.
Your couch is too light for your camera. No.
I would like to think that a couple months from now, I'll be talking to you from my new house, and I'll have like a green screen behind me or something.
I've
been
had
doing-
pumps after this episode or the Rod Stewart interview, and then it will be happening.
Sure.
Our interview gets to the $5. We get it over the hump.
It'll probably be a couple months before I get moved and get a room set up where I'm gonna have like a camera with like I'll paint the wall green behind me or something.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that with all the MSOS investors out there, the incels. You're a brave man disclosing that on CFK.
Oh, they know me. If they've been reading Seeking Alpha, I've been posting articles on MSOS and in the industry as a whole for 2 or 3 years now.
That's a real cult, and I don't get it at all because, like,
Oh, yeah.
why would you invest in this? One, it sucks. Two, why not just buy you could buy a shitty ETF and still get like
Sure.
8x the return.
So you know how I'm telling you that I think high tide is like a 10 to 15x during the next industry-wide rally when euphoria takes over the whole industry. Some of these MSOSers, they and I'm guilty of this too. They believe it is possible for it to beat its former peak. It used to trade at $55 a share. What is it trading at right now?
High tide?
MSOS.
MSOS? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the ETF that's for the industry as a whole. It's the
Yes.
US.
Oh,
cannabis
yeah.
industry.
I actually do have a friend who bought MSOS. And
So for anybody who's not familiar with the industry, this is all of the American companies. It's a big basket of them. There's only like the 30 largest or the 25 largest or something.
they are at a whopping $2.37.
Yeah. So some people,
Even
when they look at
$25.
MSOS, they look at the old peak, they look at the current price, and they tell themselves this is a 25 bagger. Right. But like sentiment matters. There's a lot of frictional costs with this ETF. So there's some inefficiency there. You don't really want to hold it for long terms because the way the swaps are set up, it's not really a great long-term investment. But let's say the U.S. decides to finally finish that Schedule 3 process that I've been talking about for like a year and a half now. When that news hits, this ETF will rocket. I don't know when. Like it's an if-then statement. If this happens,
Or
this other thing will happen.
What about like safe banking? Would that do kind of the same?
That would help. But really, they need multiple dominoes to sort of hit for the perfect recipe of these companies actually becoming really good investments. Is they need access to federal banking. They need rescheduling. Now, rescheduling alone could probably fix the banking issues. Because once they reschedule it from 1 to 3, now it just becomes a Schedule 3 substance, and so like a lot of those issues go away or become diminished. It might also be possible for the big boy ETFs to let all these OTC cannabis companies on, the NASDAQ and the NYSE and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Once safe banking passes, like the safe banking will help the financial industry accept the cannabis industry, and then rescheduling will help their taxes. It'll get rid of the 280 taxes. Yeah. And all these cannabis companies, they're not allowed to take deductions on their income tax. It's brutal. It is brutal to have to pay taxes based off of your gross profit instead of your like net income. It is. Yeah. It's real bad.
That's why they got to have high margins.
They got to have high margins.
Well, we'll talk about that too.
Yeah. There are a couple of U.S.-based cannabis companies whose margins are so shockingly high, they are still net profitable, even though they're not allowed to take deductions.
Wow.
It's that impressive.
Big thank you to Seymour Duck for the Canadian $5, even though it's Canadian. But I mean, Seymour's a very rich man after this week. Actually, no, he got the dividend earlier.
You will each be able to purchase one more share of High Tide.
I know. Oh, yeah, we could divide that in 3. Oh, I'm liking the sound of this. I'll PayPal you $1.30. Fiscal gets the fee. Full circle here on CFK. Full circle.
Brick by brick.
Somebody in the comments mentioned Aurora Cannabis and wanted me to talk about them briefly. ACB. You can go ahead and pull up their financials or pull up like a 1-year chart. Actually, I think the 1-year chart would probably tell the story the best. I don't think it's better than High Tide, but it is certainly far more attractive than it was a year ago. And 4 or 5 years ago, this was hot trash. Dumpster fire company, do not touch it under any circumstances. But they did a major shift to their business model. They left the recreational behind and they went full medical. They transitioned everything, which means they had to instill much higher quality controls in their grow operation, their distribution packaging center. All their stuff has to get tested. Yeah, if you go to like a 5-year chart, you'll see why sentiment is down in the industry as a whole.
This is the 5-year chart.
And why 5 years ago I would have told you this company is hot trash, do not touch. That's
Asia Commercial Joint Stock Bank.
That's not the right company. ACB Aurora Cannabis.
I found it.
There we go. If you click on the 5-year chart, when I first did my assessment of the company 5 years ago, or maybe 4.5 years ago or something right in there, do not touch this. Bad news. The financials were terrifying. They were hemorrhaging money, and it was not a good investment. Click on the 1-year chart. About 4 or 5 months ago, it became super clear that their transition from recreational to medical was going to pay off for them. And so not only did they shift their business model to one where they're a much bigger fish in a smaller pond, right? So that alone is going to help them. But we just went through several years of extreme oversupply in Canada, and it got to the point that so many people have gone out of business that now we have shifted into undersupply. As of, I want to say I first heard this last November. I started hearing a lot about it in December. But basically, sometime last summer into early fall, Canada as a whole went from oversupply to undersupply. So all the margins on the growers are getting better. A lot of this also is because of what's been going on in Germany. The laws in Germany changed, and it became much easier for people to get prescriptions in Germany. And so there is a huge demand for Canadian medical that can get past medical in Canada and then get shipped over to, I think there's a testing lab in like Portugal or Spain I heard about. It'll get tested and make sure that it meets the European medical standards. So it has to pass both tests for export, and then it gets there. And then before they'll allow distribution into Europe, it has to pass a second round of testing. But the demand in Germany alone has gone up enough to soak up a lot of Canada's extra supply. And now we're in a situation where inventories are running low and the producers are very happily expanding their revenue, growing a little bit more. This is sort of the first time in maybe 6 or 7 years where finally it doesn't look that terrifying to be a grower. Now, long term, I'm still super bullish on High Tide, 100%. The retailers are going to dominate long term, 20, 30, 40 years. Short term, we're going to see any medical grower in Canada is going to have a really good year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years. At some point in Germany, local supply will catch up with their demand, and the export business will not be as impressive as it is right now. Now, back to High Tide, I've been hearing a whole lot about Raj Grover being in Europe, not just from you guys, but from other sources.
We didn't say that.
No, we didn't say that. Yeah.
He
has spent a whole lot of time in Europe in the last 2, 3, 4 months, building relationships, talking to other companies, talking to potential customers. I'm not sure all of the details, but much of the story of what we were hearing 3, 4, 5 months ago about them trying to buy themselves an import license, them trying to establish relationship with locals, all that is still going on in the background. My impression is that he's sort of hunting around for the best possible deal now that the German government the new government has been elected, and it's clear what the situation is going to be for the next several years. He has adjusted his plan to the new situation. And at some point, hopefully soon, I don't know when, I'm expecting some sort of an announcement that's similar to the deal that got canceled, where they're either going to make some sort of a deal with a local company, or they're going to announce that they have established relationships with like a dozen local companies. I don't really know what the final product is going to look like. I just know sort of the realm of what I'm expecting there.
And the stock won't pump still.
And the stock won't pump still. Yeah, it won't pay any attention. The share price, it's mostly sentiment driven. The sentiment on the industry as a whole is super sour. So it's easy for me to look at this fundamentally sound company with a really competitive business model, really great management, and just watch the share price often go nowhere. And this is why I remember the very first time you guys had me on, I'm like, you better, if you're following me, if you're buying what I'm buying, you better be prepared to wait. You better be prepared for volatility. This is a multi-year thesis. This is not like I'm going to buy now and get rich next month. This is, I'm expecting like 5 to 10 to 15 bagger. I'm expecting huge returns. If I was to put my money in the S&P 500 at like a 10% compounding rate, how many years would it take to 5x?
A lot.
Like 25 or something.
Okay, so ask myself this other question.
Not quite. That's bad math on mine.
Do I expect an industry-wide rally in this industry before that 25 years or 23 or whatever, if you do the math, whatever it comes out to be? Absolutely. I don't know how long it'll be. Could be next year. Could be Trump makes some huge announcement. Remember what I was talking about? At some point, he'll feel some stress and need a distraction, and he'll just yank a rabbit out of his hat. And this, eventually he'll run low on rabbits and he'll have to pull cannabis out, and that'll be his distraction for the week.
The weed smokers love me. It's true.
Culture
weed is not gay anymore.
Culture shifting in the U.S. I'm willing to be patient. I've been watching this going on for a couple decades now. It's gotten to the point that more states have recreationally legalized it than not, and that's a tipping point. So, I just have to wait. I have to be patient. I do not care that I'm, some years are great, some years are, not so great, whatever. I am happy. I found a second company I'm going to start buying. I talked to you guys about it a couple months ago. The coal company.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm officially a sin stock investor. I know I own one share of HCC. It's a reminder share. I decided last week I'm going to start accumulating maybe 2 months from now, something like that. The gist is in about 12 months, they're going to finish construction on that mine, and they're going to open up their third mine, and they're going to become extremely cash flow heavy with nothing to do with their money. They don't have advertising needs. They don't have the need to open up a fourth mine. There is nothing for them to do with their money but return it to shareholders. And I'm going to get real loud, and I'm going to suggest, like through Seeking Alpha and on Twitter, and I'm going to reach out to management. I'm going to talk to them about how they need to do like 80 to 90% buybacks and 10 to 20% distributions. And I want to hold this company and say nice things about them for 10 to 20 years. if they maintain this extremely high buyback ratio.
Yeah.
HCC, yeah, HCC.
Yeah, there's another company that does a lot of buybacks and pays a nice dividend. Jackson Financial and Evolution Gaming, because Evolution also they have a pretty hefty yield, which they paid this week. Fiscal Evolution.
Oh, did they?
You didn't
I
get
don't-
a dividend? Check right now.
Let me double check. Let me double check.
I got a
my-
hefty like $75 the other day. It was nice. I just bought more shares, but
Keith Allen asked about AMR.
oh,
I also looked at AMR. So AMR has lower margins and higher costs. And so when the price of coal was really low, they were barely surviving and they were a really cheap stock. And then the price of coal went up and they became super profitable and they did a buttload of buybacks. They bought back like 40% of the float. And they were a 240 bagger. And that is why this is an attractive industry, is because at some point in the next, because I'm a multi-year investor. I'm planning on holding this thing for like 10 to 20 years. At some point in the next 10 to 20 years, the price of metallurgical coal will skyrocket and the company will become excessively, insanely profitable. And they're going to have nothing else to do with that money but return it to me and buy back shares. And I'm not even a dividend investor. I want to emphasize this.
yeah.
I'm after this because I think the share price can rocket if they do buybacks.
You said the ticker was ACC, right?
HCC.
HCC.
Sorry, yeah. My goofy California-influenced Appalachian accent, I can be hard to understand sometimes. My parents are both from Los Angeles, and I grew up in like redneck country, so I often confuse the locals because of my West Coast accent.
There is a very being out in the West, like the Midwest, there's a very distinct like accent. I was out in Wyoming, and
Yeah. Oh yeah.
well, well, Mr. Fiscal Philosophy, a little
Not very
oddly
small.
polite, or it's a little weird.
Yeah,
I can tell Fiscal's
I see what you
pulling
mean.
up their financials right now.
Yeah.
Pull it up on FinChat. Whew, do it
Yeah,
again.
if you want to pull
Warrior
up and
Met
share screen, we can
Coal.
talk about their financials and why I consider this company so attractive.
All right, what are we looking at here?
Whatever you want to look at with them.
All right,
Basically,
we'll
they spent a big chunk of the last 3 years on heavy capex expenditure, getting this third mine up and running. They sell not like the absolute highest quality coal on the planet, but the highest like category or tier of coal. Low, mid, high grade. They're in the high grade coal category, but it's not the absolute highest. But they
This is
some of the
coking coal, right? Or
coking coal. It's for making stainless. It's for making steel. It's
Yeah.
not for burning for electricity.
right?
I mean, you could use it to burn electricity, but it costs like twice as much because
Because it needs to have a certain amount of carbon content to make the steel strong. To my understanding, yeah.
So regular thermic coal will go to like ash and powder when it burns, but this stuff becomes like charcoal briquettish and will hold its shape as it burns. So they build this big like cylinder of heat and they lasagna in a bunch of metal, and if the whole thing collapses as it burns, it doesn't work as well.
Interesting.
So they need it to be strong while it burns and to not fall apart and maintain that like charcoal briquette strength.
But yeah, I definitely I think coking coal is a very interesting thing, because obviously the world's going to continue to produce steel. Even if we shut down all the coal power plants, you still need coking coal for steel. I'm not aware of any other cost-effective method that exists to
There is another method. You can use an electric arc furnace. You can throw a bunch of iron into a big vat and put so much amperage through it that it goes liquid. But you have to do it in an environment where there's no oxygen. And that method is, I want to say, a little over twice as expensive as coking coal. So
yeah, like it's a very it's sort of like, we talk about like, you could you can technically turn lead into gold in a particle accelerator, but the cost to create a gram of it would be like $1 trillion or something, versus just mining it out of the ground is a lot cheaper.
Mhm.
Like there is a way, but what's actually feasible in the world as we know it today?
Oh,
So
and by
the long-term thesis revolves around the fact that India is building a lot of steelmaking facilities, and these
Mm.
facilities will produce demand for sure. And this company has a really low cost of production. It's pretty close to Mobile, Alabama, so their cost of shipping it to a port is very low. I think it's mostly done with barges and canals and stuff like that. And then so because they're able to get it onto the boats so cheap, they're able to compete with producers in Australia. For India, India is way closer to Australia than Alabama is, but their cost of production is so low that they're able to just compete with the Australians.
Let's see, we've got.
am I going to have to start out a small position in Warrior Met Coal now?
Well,
I mean,
I want to emphasize this. You have like a year, right? I'm probably early here. I'm probably significantly early. I'm going to start dollar cost averaging small amounts. Maybe 6 months to a year from now is when I'm going to start buying heavy, like big tranches, large numbers of shares. But until then, I'm just going to buy a little bit every quarter or every month, probably a little bit every month, starting about 2 months from now. I'm going to sell covered calls against that position, so I don't worry too much about like the opportunity cost of like putting money into an asset. I don't expect it to go up for another 6 months, stuff like that. But Ryan, go ahead and buy a reminder share. Every time you open up your brokerage, you will stare at that reminder share and it will say, go read the earnings reports. Go look at the recent presentations. Go research the industry as a whole. Don't just listen to Blake. Don't just listen to buy what Blake buys, Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. I've saw. I don't know how well you've been keeping up with my portfolio, but I have started like maybe 4. I have like 4 like smaller sized holdings where it's just kind of like I understand the thesis and it's like the upside is pretty big. Off the top of my head, it's Jackson Financial, Grab, which has been doing very well. The regards are back, as one could say, because Amit is tweeting about it. There's 2 other companies, and it's not going to leave my head. TKO is one for sure, and BTI. Those are the 4. BTI, I wish I had a little more, but like, we'll talk about that fiscal.
Yeah, I mean, right now, BTI and Grab are my second and third largest value account holdings. So, yeah, they've done quite well, and they're actually, yeah, in terms of current unrealized gain, they're also the highest. So,
yeah,
they're very nice, as Borat would say.
Grab is that I'm actually shocked of how many regards are in it. That one's done like I'm already up. I want to say like 30% on it.
Yeah,
I bought it for
the funny thing about Grab is like the regards aren't wrong to be buying it. They're just, but they're very in and out. The regards are fickle still when it comes to Grab. It's not a cult yet, as much as I'd love it to be.
Did you check on? Did you get the evolution dividend?
Oh yeah, let me see.
I'm
you know what? My cash balance does look like it's higher than it was last week, so I must have gotten it.
There you go. Yeah, we had to pay a nice little fee on that too. Nice little tax fee.
I'm gonna try to check for the actual amount right now, just to get you salivating over.
Yeah, I'm getting excited right now.
Mm-hmm.
So since you have me on, and it's about 2 weeks before the next High Tide earnings call, I should probably warn everybody, your audience, because many High Tide shareholders are here, probably because of things I've said and got them to pay attention to the company. This upcoming quarter is the rough quarter, where revenue is possibly going to drop because winter, right? There's lag between when winter actually happens and when the company reports their financials, and this upcoming quarter is the rough quarter. So I want to warn all of you, this next quarter, those are going to be the worst financials you're going to see all year. The following 3 quarters will all look fantastic compared to next quarter because of seasonality.
Very important thing to understand is where they sell their product like 9 months out of, or like these are the worst months. Like nobody goes outside. There's blizzards all the time. There's more moose in the streets than there are people. So
I'm gonna give you some fun facts about this Evolution Gaming dividend right now.
I'm ready.
All right. So the dividend came in. It was $314.50.
Buy an Xbox with that.
Yeah,
I had to pay
but not a Switch.
$47.18 in taxes.
Oh,
What could you buy with $47.18? That's almost.
you could buy like 21 channel memberships.
That's 23 and a half channel memberships.
You could get that's a lot of value right there.
Yeah, that's how I do. I think of everything in terms of CFK channel memberships, just so you know.
Yeah.
But then I also
I
had to pay an ADR management fee.
Yeah, there you go.
Of $5.75. Again, almost another 3 CFK monthly channel memberships. So literally giving away all this money that could be going to CFK channel memberships. What in the hell is going on here?
That's why Seymour Duck is on it right now with his like $8,000 dividend he got from Evolution.
He's doing matching for every dollar he spends in Evolution dividend taxes. He's spending another on CFK memberships.
Yeah. Just even better. Don't pay your taxes like Khmer. That's the move.
I wish.
So, could somebody explain what's going on with him? Because I haven't been paying attention. Like.
So he got his channels taken down, I believe, for duplicating them. Is what I heard. I heard several things, but the thing I believe the most is that he got it taken down for duplicating them, and Coach was really upset that a lot of people were blaming him for it. And Coach does a lot of things, but I don't think he's like mean or vindictive in any way, and I don't think he's the one who tried to get the channel taken down. I believe. There's a certain person who was in episode 34 who probably is guilty of the
32.
Getting hit 32, whatever. That's probably the person that got Khmer's thing knocked down because within 24 hours of Khmer's channel taken down, if you were to search high yield dividend warriors with a clown face in the name, you will find a completely separate YouTube channel with a very different person's voice.
Hello,
and it's a very recognizable voice.
I am the Oracle.
Yes. Yes. So my if I was a betting on this situation, it was not the coach.
Yeah, repeat offender.
But the coach sure was upset. Like the next day, he's like, "Man, everybody's attacking me over this."
Good. All publicity is good publicity. Yes, it was I who took down.
It was me.
It was me all along, Austin. I mean. All we did was take down finance guy. So
yeah, we bully people when they deserve it. I mean, like, look, at least Khmer deserved it. We didn't deserve anything that happened.
And anybody that we have ever gone after or whatever you want to call it, criticized, they've always been larger. So we always punch up, never down. Yeah. I think that's the key.
Well, and once you become a public figure, you have to accept that you're going to be criticized. Absolutely. 1,000%. As soon as you put yourself out there, you're going to be criticized.
And I think that was one of, to go back to the Dan Weston dividend dude debate, I think that was one of the kind of key points that I definitely agreed with was like, hey, if you've got multiple tens of thousands of followers on a social media account, you are now a public figure, especially if you're giving your takes or your opinions. Like that then opens you up to almost any criticism it almost becomes fair game.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Dividend Dude was doing the like gray zone stuff. Like I didn't pay enough attention to him to see the things that bugged Dan. But as soon as Dan brought him up, I'm like, yeah, that bugged me too. Why are you sharing your buys publicly but only talking about yourselves behind the paywall? If that's even real, if that's true, that's not good. That's not.
Well, he did publicly say he trimmed Nike. That is so he even said and when we've had him on the show and like have directly asked, "Are you still in this?" He'll say, if he sold it, he'll say he sold it and whatever. It's not. I don't think he's trying to hide anything. Sure. Is my point.
Yeah, he's just not as transparent as he could be.
That's true.
And, yeah, which actually, like, if you go back 2 years, and he actually criticized me for not always doing portfolio updates.
I remember that. That was hilarious.
Yeah. And that it makes me dishonest for some reason. Well, actually, but he actually does still do those portfolio updates that show all of his current. So if you followed those, you would see what he has bought and sold. So in that way, he also, he's not, necessarily lacking in the show. But like if you want them real time, then yes, the
$2.
I don't know how much the subscription is, but
Right.
yes.
There's nowhere
Which-
else to go to just get like what is he currently in now? You know, like compared to his old post from a month ago or 2
Yeah.
months ago or whatever. It's just a communication issue. I
100%.
don't think Dividend Dude is attempting to be shady here. I
No,
think
he's
it's
not a
just-
Right.
grifter. I know a lot.
Yeah,
of
exactly. He's not a grifter. Yeah,
I know him very
never got those
well.
vibes.
I know him very well personally, and like he just says some very stupid things sometimes, as we all do, and sometimes doesn't communicate the best. What do you expect? He's 19. Like,
And he even owned up and said that like he hasn't done everything perfectly and that he's made mistakes and likely will make additional mistakes in the future. And I think that's
I appreciate it.
a relatively wise perspective, like because some 19-year-olds literally do go out there thinking they know it all and can do no wrong and stuff.
I can't. I've never
Back
lost
to-
money on a
not the
stock.
finance guy thing. There was about 3 weeks there that every single day I would giggle. I would set my phone down on the table. I would twist it 180 degrees and push it toward my wife and show her a brand new finance guy parody account that I had never seen before for every day for like 3 weeks. It was hilarious. Hilarious.
The grandma still weirds me out a little bit and is probably watching right now.
I was my buttocks was commented on by the grandma this week. Something I don't even want to say it online.
Is because he posted some of your Brazilian jiu-jitsu stuff.
No, it was
She saw
it
the
was a
Trump.
picture. No, so it was a picture of me and the Tetons. I was looking over the Tetons.
Oh, she wants you to
Made
look
a
over her
comment-
Tetons.
Made a comment about my ass. Yeah, the good Tetons joke. Show me your Tetons.
Somebody in the
Real fun.
comments just asked about the sundial situation.
Oh
and
yeah,
an
we
update
should
to
talk
that.
about that.
So I got real loud, real loud. I reached out to management. I got on Twitter. I got on here, and I was like, "Yo, we need to circle the wagons on this one. We need to make sure Raj doesn't have his company stolen from him." So they passed a thing. I don't know if you guys voted in it or not, but it passed with like flying colors as far as I'm concerned. The only people that voted against it were Zach George, and it basically says that if Zach George or anybody tries to get to 20% or above and do some sort of hostile takeover, then the present shareholders, other than them, are going to be allowed to buy at a severe discount, and this will dilute the hostile takeover attempt. Yeah. It's not quite the voting power that I was asking for, because I'm like, let's just give Raj like 10 times the voting power and give the current board members like double voting power, and then no outside votes can vote them out or anything. But that kind of causes its own problems. So I don't know what the discussion was like in the High Tide boardroom, but they got together and figured out a plan for if Zach decides to go above 20%, it'll trigger an event where I'm going to be allowed to step in, and I'm going to go rush down to the bank and get a loan for this. If it really is going to let me buy High Tide at a discount, I will make
What
the
kind
money
of a
into my
discount are we
brokerage
talking
happen.
here?
Huh?
What kind of a discount are we talking here?
You'll have to go check the paperwork. I haven't actually looked. I've been so busy remodeling my new house. I literally just work, and then I work on my new house, and then I sleep, and I work on my new house, and I sleep for 2 months now.
Yeah.
I was actually working on my new house when you guys got a hold of me this afternoon, and instead of quitting at 7, I just quit an hour early and came home and took a shower.
Yeah.
Covered in dust. You did not want me on here
Yeah.
the way I looked at 5:30.
We've had worse. I have a fun question because it was brought up this week in discussion. How many of Dividend Dude also hit 50,000 followers on Twitter, so congrats to him. How many of those do we think are bot accounts, and how many are real? Because this applies to us as well, Fiscal. Twitter's bot is like it's out of
I care
control.
more about how many paid memberships he has. Are they all paying like $1? How much does he make every month off of those people? Like how many of them are
I
there
wouldn't think
are-
that much. That I'd imagine.
Well, I mean, if he has like 50 people following him, cool. Great on him. But if he has like 5,000 people following him, what is he doing?
I
not
don't know
considering
if it's
himself a
5,000.
professional?
Nobody gets 10% of their followers as like paid subscribers. That would be
yeah, it won't show me.
especially when probably around half the followers are bot accounts. Like I get that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Dead internet theory. Like I think on Twitter it really does apply.
Oh, it does.
They haven't done any bot purges in forever either.
At least we can like flaunt about our following and stuff.
Yeah.
We also we had Dividend Hero follow us, and I was pretty proud on that. Like I didn't even know.
Oh yeah.
I
He's
send him
got
up.
200,000. So after converting for bots over 100,000, which is still very impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't had you on since the high tide through the entire tariff situation.
Yeah.
You want to share whether you were like buying whatever, the whole situation's been kind of crazy.
Things went real wild, like because the fear gripped the market, and I came on here like basically during peak fear. Like maybe it was like a week after peak fear, but it was pretty close to peak fear. I remember showing you guys that chart of like Canadian consumer confidence or something. It was nuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The gist is things have calmed down. High tide bounced up it was in the high like $1.90, $1.80, something. It was
We got
below
like
$2.
$1.79 at
it
some
was-
point.
yeah.
It was cheap for
Cheap,
a minute there.
cheap.
I
I unfortunately was unable to purchase any because remember I just bought a house, so I sort of strapped for cash to last like 4 months now. Houses
can
are kind
relate.
of expensive,
Yes.
so I missed this dip. I think I bought like $200 worth or something, and not even enough to talk about. So I effectively missed this dip, but I plan on not missing future dips. It's just it hit me at a time period when I did not have extra cash to dump into shares.
Mm-hmm. Fiscal, what are you been buying lines of Coke for your 20-year-old girlfriends? What's going on here?
No. Honestly, I've been enjoying watching the TSSI rip.
Oh yeah, I
Because
forgot that's
I
where
was because earlier this year I was going pretty heavy into that stock and
yeah, it's
yeah.
Have I missed the top? Or is it still a buy?
I couldn't tell. Like it's hard to say, but I will say like it's not necessarily too late because it's very volatile. There's probably going to be more dips, but even if there aren't, this isn't a terrible entry for what the people who do follow it think that they can do. And Andrew is like the main person. Stabulo got out because he's got weak little paper hands, but
up 180% in the last month. I wonder why he'd get out.
Wait, you mean he took profits and you're calling him a paper hander?
No. He got out before this.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he got out right before this, which is usually something I would do, but because my timing, my timing, like notoriously people say is cursed, but it's actually not that bad. If you actually take a look at like every single thing I've either bought and sold, it's just like I have some hits and some misses, just like anybody else would.
That's part of why I try to shoot for a multi-year thesis. It sort of eliminates the problem where like, oh, I bought at the wrong time. Well, I decided to start DCAing. I spent like a year buying in, and then I ended my buying. And
definitely, I would say like less in and out of things than a lot of people, but just sometimes I get if I get convinced that something is a better opportunity, I reconsider an old, like if I've held something for like a couple years, the things I thought were true about it turn out not to be true, and somebody presents me a great like high tide's one of the things I rotated into in the last year and a half, right?
What about Jackson?
So the only thing I've done with Jackson is cash secured put like a few weeks ago. It's going to expire on the 20th.
Yeah. Okay.
Why has it been ripping?
No, it's been kind of a interesting little DCA move right now in the market. There's not really much like I can buy because like everything's been ripping for me. Like my portfolios.
So if it stays under $85, I'll have 100 shares soon of Jackson.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, 85's like I think that's where I got in, but I averaged down recently. That dividend and the buyback yield's really nice. Andrew's in it too.
Yeah, anytime Fabio or Andrew, either of them are in something, I'm always willing to take a second look at it because they've already vetted it. Like there's this concept that Monish Prabrai, I know you guys are also fans, at least a little bit. There's this concept he talks about called cloning, where, I mean, why are you bothering to go do all this research for all these obscure companies? That's me. That's my hobby. I like to. But the average investor, why are you doing all this research to obscure companies? You should just produce a list of like the 20 best investors on the planet and just go look at their portfolios. You just choose those companies and research those companies. And even if you don't know what you're doing and you just randomly pick like from all the super investors, the 100 best companies, you're throwing darts at the wall, you're going to do better than if you were including the entire basket of 70,000 stocks globally. And so that this is part of why I always look for what are the super investors doing? Why are they there? And not just the famous super investors, but I consider both Andrew and Fabio to be people that are competent. And all you have to do to be competent is to beat the market, consistently, which is like what 97% of people don't, something like that. All you have to do is be better than average, which is somehow less than 50% by a long
charged.
Yeah. Well, 2023 I absolutely did not beat the market. I don't care. I think I had an 8% return and I was perfectly happy. And then 2024 I had over a 70% return. And that is why, is because I'm happy with the 8% returns, because I know there will be years that it's dramatically better than that. And I just have to put up with the fact that I have inconsistent returns because of my strategy.
Yeah. Respect it. I think that's
So somebody asked about cash flow.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Cash flow for what?
Do you think High Tide will be cash flow positive this year?
That's a really good question. So the reason they did not make cash flow positive last quarter was for two reasons. The gross margins dropped a little, and then they also bought off a lot of old debt and then rolled into new debt. And so that ate up a huge amount of their cash. Their cash flow is actually below operational income, which is a pretty clear indicator that they were spending a lot last quarter. This quarter, this is the rough quarter, right? This is when, if they didn't open up new stores, revenue would drop because of winter. If they managed to get revenue to even just close to last quarter, that'll be a huge victory. That'll represent them opening up a bunch of stores last year, new customers, new growth, stuff like that. But during the winter, in order to drown that out, you have to open a huge number of stores. And I don't think that they did that. I don't think that they opened enough stores to make revenue maintain for this quarter. I think we're going to see a dip in revenue. I know you're asking about cash flow. I understand. All their flat costs are still there. And when your revenue goes down and your flat costs are still there, you can also expect flat cash flows to take a hit, to experience some sort of shrinkage. So I don't know whether they'll be positive or not, but I am confident that this quarter's cash flow will be lower than the following 3 quarters, because the company seasonality, they always exhibit much stronger cash flow during the warmer months than the colder months. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if it'll be positive or not. All I know is if it's negative, I'm not going to stress about it unless it's really negative, and it's not because they're expanding, it's due to some other thing. Yeah. If I see revenue go down and margins go down, which might actually happen this next quarter, under normal conditions, that'd be time to panic. But this is the seasonality quarter. So it'll be sort of weird that the normal red flags that I look for, I'm going to have to intentionally ignore because of winter.
Yeah. Another good question here from channel member Cubbo. Do you think at some point High Tide will start paying a dividend?
Maybe 6 to 10 years from now.
Yeah.
I'm going to encourage Raj to keep on rolling every possible dollar into expansion and growth and new revenue. When a company has trouble finding new revenue, that is when you want them to start paying a dividend. Yeah. This company is not there. They have miles of runway left. There are how many billions of people on the planet? And 3% of all of them could eventually be High Tide customers, or 5% or something like that. I would imagine that over really long time frames, 20, 30, 40 years from now, cannabis use will be higher and it's more spread out than it is now, just because of how Western culture works and changes and trends. Will they start paying a dividend? I would want them to start paying a dividend as soon as it becomes clear that they are no longer going to be able to open up new stores or find new revenue easily. Once it becomes difficult, that's when I want them to pay a dividend. When they become mature and they stop becoming a growth company.
Yeah.
A pure growth company,
Maybe I'll ask Raj Grover if you guys are paying a dividend soon, just to piss off all the people that have been some of the High Tide bogleheads that have been coming after us over the years.
We should ask him under what conditions in the future he will, because he will eventually. It's just a matter of when. We should ask him under what conditions will you eventually begin paying a dividend, and I'm curious to see what he thinks.
Yeah, that interview will be happening hopefully in June. We're looking after Q2, so
I'll have to bring my sunglasses.
Yeah, I think we all got to go sunglasses. I'm definitely dressing up. I'm gonna have the top of the suit at least. Fiscal's gonna have his nice sweater vest on.
I doubt I'll be in the new house yet. I'll probably still be here.
It's gonna be we'll be the most dapper we have ever been as a.
I know we'll never top it.
I'll wear
Hopefully,
a collared shirt.
yeah.
and something besides just boxers. No,
I don't know. I don't know what Fabio will wear.
Yeah,
Fabio can
Fiscal
get up-
looks down to check. Did I put on actual clothes?
No. I've got real basketball shorts on.
Yeah. I was worried about having to get up and take a leak on camera, so I put on basketball shorts as well.
Yeah. I wasn't sure though. I really wasn't.
Yeah. Oh, Gil, congrats me on the new house. So Gil, I'm very happy. I'm an engineer, and one of the problems of engineering is that people hire you to solve their problems. And then once you have solved them, they're like, great, that was fantastic. Here's your money later. And they never call you back because you solved their problem.
Try dating.
So a little over a year ago, I got hired in manufacturing for the first time. And let me tell you, there is a steady stream of problems for me to solve. So I finally have like true job security. And that let me like feel able to just go buy a bigger house.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy.
I've decided I've wanted to become a CFA to pursue my financial career because from what I've heard, it seems like easy money. And
you just give people advice. It doesn't even have to be very good advice.
That's what I'm saying. Like, and I think I'm already qualified enough. Like, you just buy the market if you want money. But obviously, it's more to that. But it seems like more of a sales job from the research I've heard from Capital Mindset. That the whole server, it seems more like sales. And I don't know.
Are you good at sales?
I think the way I'd want to approach it is just being transparent, like honest with people, because I think a lot of these CFAs and stuff, it's just like bullshit. And like, I think if you can be realistic and honest, I think they'll take you far.
You should throw yourself in the cauldron and just go get like a horrible 2-week or 3-week long telemarketing job and see if you enjoy sales at all. You're going to hate it, but you might actually like it. Who knows?
Hello, my name is Brandon.
I will say, so there's in what I do, I haven't actually been really active in this part of it for a while, but there is a lot of what we would call dialing for dollars in the freight industry, right? You need to get a truck at a certain price and convince them that that's the right fit for them. And they've got a lot of other people calling them too, wanting that same truck. So, and sometimes that means repeating that process 200 times a day.
Yeah.
Just grinding it out. That's what sales really is, especially if there's any like cold calling. It's just persistence. And so does that sound fun to you, Ryan?
Buddy, persistence has been my entire life in the dating world for like the last year. I think I've had about enough, so I may have to reconsider career paths.
Just find yourself a good wife, and you won't have to go through all the stress of constantly hunting for one.
The hunt is
this generation is disgusting. I can't even talk about it. Fiscal knows because
Fiscal enjoys the hunt.
Yeah,
you got to find your enjoyment where you can, And so, yeah, I choose to enjoy the dance, the pursuit, the whatever.
So it's about the journey, not the destination.
Oh no, I definitely like the destination.
Will AI replace? I don't know. I think like one like little slip up and like that will just. I think that's kind of one of those jobs that I don't know. I disagree with that.
So AI will definitely be taking jobs over the next, 100 years. For a while, we're going to see AI taking jobs. But there's a handful of jobs I don't think it'll take any time in our lifetimes. Electricians, plumbers, welders, carpenters, roofers. Like if your toilet breaks, do you want to have a robot come fix it? Or do you want to have like an experienced human come fix it?
And the thing of it's also when you think of the technical challenges of having a robot that could navigate any type of residence when all residences are so different, and like maneuvering through them would be so difficult. It's just the technical challenges that would have to be overcome are beyond just the machine knows how to do plumbing stuff.
Yeah.
Like it's not just uploading schematics to the matrix and your virtual plumber can come and do it. There's a lot more to it than that.
Yeah.
So those trades are pretty insulated for the time being.
So my idea was basically like maybe a couple of years open maybe like a small friends and family investment management firm. I'm not saying that I've already been doing that for people, paid or not. I'm not saying whether I have. It doesn't matter. The money wouldn't have been large either way. It's GTA dollars at this point. Maybe get a few like clients underhand, word of mouth, and it would be like a nice little I don't want to say side hustle, but like little
Cottage industry.
Yeah,
That's
a little tree that will grow over time.
Did you say CPA exam? Which one were you looking at? CFA. Okay. Yeah. I considered studying for the CFA and never taking the test just to become better at individual stock picking and analyzing valuations and all that stuff. There's a lot of valuable skills in there. Not every skill they teach for the CFA will be valuable for you as an individual stock picker. However, some of them are going to be very important as individual stock picker. And I was like, maybe 4 years ago, I was like, man, I should really study for that. I'd give me a chance to polish up those skills. I never did.
I've just accepted the fact that I'm like completely stupid, and it's probably just smart to go with big ETF holding and a few small, medium, and other bigger companies like Uber and Amazon that I like. Just come to accept the terms. I won't even try to deny it.
So the advice I give most people is they should just buy the SPY and not stress about it, and just open up a Roth and dump like 500 or 550 or whatever a month into it every month. Hit your max every year, and just ETF invest, and then take the other like 10% of your mad money and then go buy individual stocks. In a Robinhood account, completely separate from your responsible account. Yeah. Do not blend your responsible account and your irresponsible account. Don't do that. Most people don't have the psychological, they won't be able to differentiate what you should be doing with that money. And they'll take silly risks with their retirement money instead of their mad money.
Yeah.
But I am an individual stock picker because of my personality, because I have to open things up and tinker with them. If it isn't broken, why fix it? Yeah, but I could make it better. Right. So I'm constantly trying to rip apart my toaster and make it better and stuff like that. And it's just my personality.
Me too.
And other people that have my problem, I tell them you should need to get an individual stock picking. You should not be boglehead investing. Right.
No,
but
not the toaster thing, but more I also, because of my personality, I enjoy the chase. Like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you enjoy the chase. Yeah.
So
it's
being being a boglehead isn't gonna do it for me. It's not gonna keep me interested enough to keep putting money to work doing it, because I've gotta get like a little something more out of it than it just sits there.
Yeah.
A little bit more active than that.
For me,
it's my problem with Disney.
I've really enjoyed playing strategy games my entire life. I enjoy breaking the game, like not the rules. You don't break the rules, you follow the rules. But you break the game. You find a place where the game just falls apart, and you go exploit that, right? And so for me, stock picking is a game. It's just another strategy game. It just so happens if you do really well, you get to retire early.
Yeah. And that is why I have been managing OnlyFans girls for the last 6 months, and I have made over 8 figures doing so, and I have been exploiting the game.
Actually, it's funny, Ryan. I have actually been looking into that.
Managing?
I've just that whole segment of the economy, you could say.
You're not buying though, are you?
Buying like expending money,
buying the products? No.
Oh no, hell no. I don't need to. All right. Paying just to look, to me, is just like,
that's sad.
Why? Like, why bother? It's just
can't be down that bad.
You get nothing out of it, really. So yeah.
OnlyFans sluts will be the first ones to lose their job to AI. I would love AI. That'd be a great thing then.
Any sort of like white collar job, and I hate to categorize like feet pics as white collar, but like if you don't have to do physical labor to earn your money, your job is probably threatened. Or if you aren't doing like dynamic problem solving or something like, for example, if you're an accountant, automation has already wrecked your industry for like 70 years now. QuickBooks, like, used to be an accountant had like 10 clients because that's how long it took them to do all that math. It took like, 2 months a client and stuff like that, And now it's like a single accountant can have 10,000 clients.
Yeah.
They just need to answer the phone and answer weirdo questions that come up and oddballs because it's all automated. And a lot of those industries, a lot of those white collar jobs, they're going to find out that they don't actually have skills that matter.
Yeah, all the 60-year-olds who buy OnlyFans are not messaging the 18-year-old. They think it's Kayla. It's actually fiscal philosophy messaging them behind. You want feet pics, baby? $50? No. I've seen also things of like people that will go on dating apps and they'll make like fake profiles and they'll act as like real prime like 18-year-old, 20-year-old women, and they Apple Pay scam these old dudes like, I need money to go to the club, and it's really just like dudes behind it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. So if you're on, for example, Tinder, and you see someone that's really attractive and looks like a model, it's a fake account. Like 100%.
It's easy to tell.
I mean, sometimes it's like it's on the
dudes.
fence and everything, but just assume that they're all fake until you like meet in person, video chat, something like to a little bit more due diligence, right?
I want to comment on Gil's comments about AI and game design. So Gil, what language do you write in? I write in C and assembly and C++, and I use Cursor, and it definitely speeds me up. But it's like talking to a fourth grader who knows calculus. They only know the one thing really well. They have no wisdom. They make mistakes constantly, and they lie to me. C++. Okay, cool. Cursor is great for speeding me up. It's great for searches. It's great for explaining to me logic flow. Like I'll be like, what happens to this data once it gets collected? Show me as it goes through all the different variables and all the math that happens to it. And so I need to like be able to compare the inputs and the outputs. But AI was trained on buggy code. So in order to train these AI, these large language models, they used GitHub and GitLab. And that is where people who are learning how to code post their code. So, you can find some good stuff in there, but something like 95% of it is trash. And it's full of security issues. It's full of compromised bugs and things can get hacked and all that stuff. So what I'm not worried about what AI taking the job of coders. I'm actually more worried that people will not understand that AI produce buggy code, and they're going to start depending on code that has flaws in it that no human came along and checked, because the person that wrote it doesn't actually understand how to code. That is what I'm really worried about.
Yeah, the catfishing on Tinder is funny, to say the least. We'll give the 5-minute warning for anybody that has any last comments, questions, concerns. Rick CEO when? I messaged out and I didn't hear anything back. So there was an engagement with the CEO of RCI, and basically a company that owns all the strip clubs, and that would just be a fun interview. Seymour, you got to get it on. You got to help us. Oh, we also do a Seymour dance, so I'll pull up the Joe Rogan clip.
Gil, did you write Gorilla vs. 100 Men? Is that what I'm reading?
In the video game, supposedly. He didn't actually make the joke, but he made.
Okay, because that's been blowing up for like a month now.
Yeah, he took advantage of the trend, and I like that.
Wishlist my game. Okay, I will. I play Steam. I do Steam all the time. Like literally every day. It's how I relax. I come home, I play video games.
Yeah, there's it sucks. There's been no good games in forever. Like GTA 6 was gonna like be the one, and like nothing anymore. Like I'll throw on UFC 5 to relax and maybe some Hunter Call of the Wild. But that's it.
Also, guys, get memberships. I had to buy a new laptop recently.
Yeah, we and I gotta sign up for StreamYard. I was gonna mention that, but I couldn't get around to it this week. But next week, CFK will look normal again.
Get with me in real time when you do, just in case, because like.
Yeah, I know.
There might be a security thing that comes up.
I will. All right, we'll do the dance here. Blake, as per usual, for any of our guests, you can choose to or to not dance. I'll leave that one.
I'm
to
not
you.
much of a dancer. It's my wife can't even get me to dance most of the time. So
Yeah, me and Fiscal though we sell ourselves out for money. So
I understand.
Yeah,
It's better than feet pics.
yeah.
I don't know how you can do it. Oh shit! There you go. Round two. Here we go.
That's enough. We're not getting demonetized.
I don't even want to know what smelling salts feels like. It can't feel that good. It looks ridiculous.
I want to try now.
It's not on the list of things I ever wanted to try.
Yeah. Cocaine is on the list, but not smelling salts. I'm joking. It's my personal.
Scarface was a really good movie.
CFK Vegas trip is going to be insane, everybody. Will Ryan do a line of cocaine at the
Off
strip
of
club?
a stripper's booty.
Will it happen? You'll have to be there to see.
I could arrange that, you know.
Brian, when you turn 21.
Your new connections. Yeah. Everything when I turn 21.
Everything when you turn 21. Yeah, that's when real fun can happen.
We have like a year and a half to go. So like,
Okay.
we gotta keep rolling in the IRA account. 36,000 going strong. We'll need 5 for that weekend at least. So yeah. But no, it's gonna happen. Seymour Duck is gonna fund the entire trip with his
CFK memberships that he gets.
CFK memberships and connections. Gil says cocaine is gay. I've never smoked weed before or drank alcohol. But I'd rather do cocaine.
Out of all the things, I have had alcohol, haven't done any of the other stuff though.
Yeah, you got to respect it. Vaping is not a fan. ZA makes more sense. The ZA, and I'm a high tide shareholder, so I respect
A cigar every once in a while can be.
Yeah, I love the smell of cigar shops. I walked by one.
Well, when you're 21, we will go to a cigar lounge. I promise. My treat.
CFK trip to meet up with the Rick CO at his clubs. That would be an exclusive interview, members only. I'd love that. That'd be insane. Hello, sir.
There is an annual cannabis convention in Vegas every year. You could schedule it to happen the same week as that and potentially bump into Raj.
Yeah. Mr. Grover, we run into the garage after a long night out at the clubs. It's my fucking CEO right there. It's my guy.
It's my guy.
He's the money man.
It's like the New Yorkers when they tell you they have a guy, like, I can get you Dodgers tickets. I got a guy. I got a guy. Cruise tickets. I got a guy. It's like, I can get you a good investment. I've got a guy.
Yeah. Well, everybody, we are an hour 15 in. Blake, as per usual, it was a pleasure. Obviously, the people want to hear more of you, but where can the people find you before the Roger Grover interview?
Well, before the Roger Grover, I don't plan on writing anything for Seeking Alpha for like at least the next month and a half because I'm busy moving. But you can expect a really detailed article on Met Warrior Cole as soon as I have the time to sit down and write it. Yeah. I'm on Twitter. I'm on here every couple of months, and I'm on Discord. So if you want to get a hold of me, get into either Ryan or Fiscal's Discord, and throw it at me. Yeah. And I read both of their Discords pretty frequently. So if you want to strike up a conversation, go for it.
Yeah. The quote was regarding Mayor's activities list of what you do and do not want to do. Drugs, sexual behaviors,
city girl lifestyle, sexual behaviors, alcohols.
Out of a movie. Yeah, there you go. Coach is in here. Good to see you. We'll have you on sometime soon. All right. Appreciate you all for tuning in. Smash the like button, subscribe, do dividend stocks on drugs, and of course, cash flow is king. Oh yeah.